Hello. If you're just here for the codes, feel free to just pause and copy them down. I'm just going to try and explain some of the things that I found here. Thank you. Bushido Blade 2's characters are set up in a bit of an odd way. There are two sets of values listed here, A and B, and as you can see, the A values arrange the characters in more or less by faction. The actual order is a bit odd. Mikado is after Tatsumi, and for some reason Tsubame and Katse are placed in the middle of the lists. Just second half of the list, just each faction is completely haphazard. And the store costumes are naturally at the end. And if you were to use a value not listed here, it would default to story kaneki. There is one oddity I found in the English version, but that's not the point. The B codes, however, place the story costumes at the front of each faction, which sends all of the numbers completely off. Group A covers the moveset, which is the throws and moves like the jumping strike. It also is, oddly enough, the surrender noise trigger. And while the Group B codes can force the character in context that they shouldn't be available in. Specifically, this can affect the CPU. The special statuses as well. Also, the helpless status for the last Descendant is rather unique. That removes the weapon's physical existence. It cannot be used to harm anyone, except specifically by throws, if she has been given someone else's move list. She is killable by everything except dirt and water, and being ran into, and she is only able to win by the opponent either surrendering or willingly walking off of a cliff. This effect can be applied to any character by that special status code. Given any weapon except the katana, she can function roughly. She can't run, but she can fight back. But yes, if the last Descendant has the katana, she will just sit there and wait for you to kill her. The special statuses are quite straightforward. Sakaki teleports, Dinah wears armor, Isohachi can shout to stun enemies. You're probably aware of all of these things, but now everyone can do it. Incidentally, if you're setting these characters via a character code, you might want to also just input the special status code to remove it if you want to just have Sakaki or Dinah play normally. The team battle mode codes, as you can probably guess by comparing the weapon codes here to the character codes, choosing character codes, that if you simply the next number or letter in sequence will be the code that you put for that character's weapon, allowing you to have a team battle mode where every character can have the same weapon rather than the default arrangement of it being one of each. You could also decide to just bring a gun. Isn't that fun? So here's something inexplicable. I've been messing around with the code and the hex values that things apply, and I've got some odd things to show here. Joe and Mikado and Jiro are all offset slightly in their vertical positioning. It has something to do with their models. This B value here, just scroll down, relates to the weapon strength that each character has. And yet, you're reading that correctly. Mikado over here is as strong as Kanuki with a broadsword. Bow before the Empress. The remaining values I'm still desperately trying to figure out. We also got speed that I've been able to unearth. Again, not entirely sure about all of the values, but these characters do have these values consistently in the code. I haven't tried messing with them too much, largely because I'm afraid of breaking anything. But while I'm still trying to figure out, well, maybe it's not breaking I'm afraid of. It's more, I don't know what results I'd be looking for. Is there some kind of fragility to the characters? Different defensive values that are just too subtle for me to understand? Because I figured the strength alone was the determining factor for how parrying worked. But yes, at the bottom there's a bunch of 17s, or rather 23s, since it's hex, meaning that every character who is not meant to be played, aside from the ninja, are way stronger than they should be. But I suppose for the bosses that makes sense. So if you're looking for information on just how powerful any given character is by comparison to each other, this little chart is for you right here. If you have any idea what this could mean, please tell me. Last little things to end things off. The first is that slash mode is largely unaffected by attempts to modify it with these codes. You will be using a katana, and you will be fighting the same arrangement of enemies. I can get the game to load slash inside of another mode. I have another video on my channel that exploited that, but I cannot get it to do much else at the moment. The other point is that scenes in story mode are somewhat resistant to changing the character. The ninja that you fight and the boss that you fight will change to who you've set to fight, but the cutscene that plays first will remain the same, whatever character the game thinks is supposed to be there by the story that you have set it to, if you have changed the story. The character force, character choice, and story codes interact in a strange way. But if you've listened all the way through, thank you very much. Enjoy using these codes for whatever you see fit to do.